Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhu series. We will start with Mangalacharan prayers and then proceed with the class. I will share my screen. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya
चक्षुरुन्मीलितं
Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Soyam Rupah Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutah Padkamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay. Now we will switch to Śrī Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhu. So, welcome to the study of Śrī Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhu by Srila Rupa Gosvami with English study called Nectar of Devotion by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
जय।
So we will, you can lead and follow, unmute and do that if you would desire. We will sing the first two verses of Shad Goswami Ashtakam as a dedication to the 6 Goswamis. Krishna Kirtana Gana Nartana Paro Premamritambo Nidhi
Krishna Kirtan Gan Nartan Paro Premamritambo Nidhi
Dhira Dhira Jana Priyo Priyakaro Nirmatsaro Pujito
Dhira Dhira Jana Priyakaro Nirmatsaro Pujito
Shri Chaitanya Kripa Bharao Bhuvi Bhuvo Bharavahantarako
Shri Chaitanya Kripabharo Bhuvi Bhavo Bharavahantarako
Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghuyugo Shri Jiva Gopalako
Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghuyugo Shri Jiva Gopalako
Nana Shastra Vicharanaika Nipuno Saddharma Samsthapako
Nana Shastra Vicharane Dharma Sanstapako
Lokanam Hitakarino Tribhuvane Manyo Sharanyakaro
लोकानां हितकारिणो
Manyo
शरण्या
Radha Krishna Padaravinda Bhajana Nandena Mattaliko
राधा कृष्ण पदारविंद भजना
नंदेन
नंदेन मत्तालिको
Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghuyugo Shri Jiva Gopalako
वंदे रूप सनातनो रघुयुगो श्री जीव गोपालको.
Thank you. So now we will recite the 4 memorization verses. This is 1.1.11. Anyabhilashita shunyam
अन्याभिलाषिता शून्यं
Jnana-karma-dhyana-vratam
ज्ञान कर्माद्यनावृतम्
Anukulyena Krishnanu
आनुकूल्येन कृष्णानु
Sheelanam Bhaktiruttama
शीलनं भक्तिरुत्तमा
Sarvopadhi Vinirmuktam
सर्वोपाधि
Tatparatvena Nirmalam
तत्परत्वेन निर्मलम्
Ikena Rishikesha
ऋषिकेण ऋषिकेश
Evanam Bhaktiruchyate
सेवनं
भक्तिरुच्यते.
Atah Sri Krishna Namadi
अतः श्री कृष्ण नामादि
Na Bhaved Grahyamindriyai
न भवेत् ग्राह्यमिन्द्रिये
Devonmukhe hi jivhado
सेवोन्मुखे हि जिह्वादो
Swayam eva sfuratyadaha
स्वयम् एव स्फुरत्यवतः
Anasaktasya vishayan
अनासक्तस्य विषयान्
Nirbandha Krishna sam yatharham upayunjataha
यथार्हम् उपयुञ्जतः
Nirbandha Krishna sambandhe
निर्बन्धः कृष्ण सम्बन्धे
Yuktam vairagyamuchyate.
युक्तं वैराग्यमुच्यते.
Okay, thank you for the recitation of the verses. Now we will start a new chapter today. Where is that? Okay, can you see this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thanks. So we are going to start second chapter today. This is the second chapter in the Eastern Division. It is also the second chapter or second wave as far as Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhu goes. And the title is Sadhana Bhakti. In the Nectar of Devotion, which is the English version of this Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhu, this consists of 15 chapters, number 2 to 16, almost. It starts at para number 4 onwards on chapter 2. So for, good reason, Srila Prabhupada included the last description of the last 3 verses of Samanya Bhakti in the second chapter. And then from para number 4, he continues, or he starts with the description of Sadhana Bhakti chapter. So that should answer one of your questions, Vidagdha Madhav Prabhu. Yeah. So let's start. Sadhana Bhakti. So today's discussion will go fairly detailed we will go into a detailed discussion of Sadhana Bhakti. And I think it's a very important discussion. Now we are getting very deep into the science of Bhakti, how Bhakti actually works. So please pay attention to this. Some part or large part of it may be theoretical, but it will give you a good understanding of how the process of bhakti actually works. And one of the things that one would realize, at least the one that I realized when I read this, is that why is it that in some people we see rapid progress in their bhakti or the manifestation of some of the symptoms of bhakti, and for some people, even though they may be doing it fairly seriously, it is taking time. And the one person that we know of who is doing how seriously one is doing is our own self. We may not know how seriously somebody else is doing their bhakti, but we definitely know how seriously we are doing. And also we can see that why it is taking time, or why some symptoms are manifesting or not manifesting. So it is very, very useful to understand this whole theory. And it has definitely a lot of, may not have a practical application, like tomorrow you may not have something to do, but you may have a lot of practical realizations, which would or could lead to changes in your practice. So in that sense, it is very practical, but it is definitely very useful and very meaningful, I think. Okay, so with that background, let us start the discussion of bhakti, of sadhana bhakti. Anybody remembers, now again, for those that might find it possible, turn on your camera. I will pick on people who have their camera on for some, interaction. But in any case, would anybody does anybody remember the title of the previous chapter from Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhu standpoint?
Samanya Bhakti.
Sadhana Bhakti.
Sadhana Bhakti is this. Samanya Bhakti, very nice. And what was the emphasis of the previous chapter? What was the main emphasis of the last chapter? What was the main thing you learned from the last chapter? The one main thing.
Main characteristics of bhakti.
Okay.
How to transition from sadhana to bhava to prem.
Okay. I think there is something more important. The one most important understanding from previous chapter.
The bhakti destroys.
Krishna Bhakti was important in the last.
Lalu Mataji, you were saying something?
Yeah, I was saying bhakti destroys our bad karmas and good karmas, so that we can become more towards Krishna.
Okay. Shyam Leela Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So, Prabhuji, what I recall is that for the pure devotees, even liberation is not important. And the only way to really attract Krishna is by pure devotional service.
Okay. Ananya Mataji? Did you put down your hand suddenly? I thought you raised your hand. We can't hear you for some reason. Still not. Medha Mataji, try to fix your microphone.
Bhakti destroys our material desires and auspiciousness. We see auspiciousness in our lives.
Okay. Okay, so you all need to kind of go back and revise all the material of chapter 1, Samanya Bhakti. Okay. So let's see. We will see that really soon. So this is the first verse of the second chapter, and it says, Sa bhakti sadhanam bhava prema cheti tridhodita. So it means that Sa bhakti, that bhakti, Sa means that bhakti has three types. Tridha udita, or it is said that it has three types. Three. What are they? Sadhanam, bhava, and prema. So that's what it is saying. There are three types of bhakti: sadhana, bhava, and prema. What has three types? Sa bhakti, that bhakti. So what is that bhakti? That is the question. What bhakti is it that it says has three types?
Krishna Bhakti.
Krishna Bhakti. Okay. So you all have forgotten the most important thing that we learned in the first chapter.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Madhuri
Is,
Mataji.
is it like without any personal desire, just serving for the Lord, for His pleasure?
Yes, that is the. So can you say the Sanskrit verse here? Or anybody? He gave you
I
a
don't
huge hint.
remember, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Shunyam, yeah.
very nice. So that is the most important thing that we learned in the first chapter, is the definition of what bhakti. Who can tell me? Fill in the blank.
Anukulyam Krishnanu.
Uttama Bhakti.
Uttam
Yeah,
Bhakti.
Uttam Bhakti.
Okay, so it took so many questions to reach that final magic word. So the most important thing we learned in the first chapter is the definition of Uttama Bhakti. That is our main takeaway. So Sa Bhakti means that Bhakti, as in Uttama Bhakti. So that is the 11th verse. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadhyanavritam anukulyena krishnanu shilanam bhaktiruttama. So that verse you all need to memorize very soon for the test. So that bhakti has three types. Which bhakti has three types? Uttama Bhakti has three types, which is sadhana bhakti, bhava bhakti, and prem bhakti. Are you following? Is the meaning of the first verse clear? Sa bhakti sadhanam bhava prema cheti tridodita. Now let me ask you all a question. Can sadhan bhakti also be called as Uttama Bhakti? We all can say Prema Bhakti is certainly Uttama Bhakti, isn't it? Prema Bhakti. It's the highest among the three. But what about Sadhan Bhakti? Is it also Uttama Bhakti?
Yes.
Okay. Can somebody justify it? Yes, the answer is yes, because the verse says that Sa Bhakti. Now I have told you Sa Bhakti means Uttama Bhakti. So we can say Uttama Bhakti Sadhanam Bhava Prema Cheti Tridohdita. So Uttama Bhakti has three types and one of them is Sadhan. Okay, so the answer is right in front of you. How do we understand it? How do we make sense of it? That is the question.
I think it's like 3 steps of a ladder. Without the first ladder, you cannot go to the second.
Okay. Anything else? So if Prema Bhakti is, so maybe you can tell me a little more. How is it still that Sadhana Bhakti is Uttama Bhakti? It's still, the lowest level. If you're saying it's 3 steps of a ladder, it's the lowest step. The lowest step is not equal to the highest step.
But without Shravan and Kirtanam, which is the first 2 steps of sadhan, I think those are the most important ones.
Yes, definitely. But how do we say that it is Uttama Bhakti? That is the question.
Mm-hmm.
That is the starting point to the Uttama Bhakti, maybe.
Okay.
Because it is favorable to Krishna.
Okay, it is favorable to Krishna. Okay, very nice points. Anybody else? Medha Mataji, you are muted. You are saying something, but we can't hear you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yeah,
Yes.
because now we have the knowledge and we are on the path to Uttama Bhakti. We are on the path to
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me explain. Yes, you are all on the right track. And this question is asked in the commentary of Jiva Gosvami. to this verse, and he explains it in a very nice way. And the analogy he gives is cooking. So would you say that purchasing grocery is part of cooking? Or is it only the stirring the pot when all the ingredients have been put into the pot and the fire has been lit? Only that is called cooking, or all the other work that we did before, like purchasing grocery and washing the vegetables, cutting it, is it also part of cooking?
Yes.
Yes, we would all say that whole thing is part of cooking.
Even wanting to cook, maybe.
Okay, that is something we can. So at least the activity, we will see. Wanting is a desire. That's a good point. We will unpack that in a few slides. But at least the activities that we do are all part of cooking. But the end result of cooking, which means whatever you are cooking, pulao or whatever, is not ready till the last step is over. So you don't get that bliss of enjoying the pulao or matar paneer or whatever till the final step is over. But the previous steps are also certainly part of cooking. So grocery purchase is also cooking, and therefore in the same way, sadhan bhakti is also part of Uttama Bhakti. But the end result, what is sadhya, the end result or the end objective, has not yet been obtained, as long as you are, or one is performing, or one is at the stage of sadhana bhakti. So one should not think that sadhan bhakti is not Uttama Bhakti. Now, later on in the slides, we will also unpack a little bit as to how sadhan bhakti can be done or should be done at a Uttama level. So if you look at the definition of Uttama Bhakti, which is Anyabhilashita Shunyam, Jnana Karmadi Anavritam. So no material desires, no desires for jnana, karma, or the fruits of those activities not covered by that. There may be some involvement of jnana and karma. That's what anavritam means, that it is not covered by jnana and karma. Jnana and karma activity may be there, but one is not saying that that is at the topmost level. Bhakti is at the topmost level. So that is the meaning of Anyabhilashita Shunyam, Jnana Karmadi Anavritam. So you can start to think, apply this verse, Anyabhilashita Shunyam, to your current stage of bhakti, which even could be at a beginning stage like Shravanam and Kirtanam. Even when you are doing it mechanically, or you are not doing it with full feeling, with full bhava or love. Bhava means, love, so to say. Prema is love, but bhava is also feelings or feelings of love. So that may still not be there, but it can still be done without the desire that, oh, I will do bhakti so that I can get some pious credits and enjoy some material benefits. That would be, it wouldn't be Anyabhilashita Shunyam, it would be Anyabhilashita Purnam, full of Anyabhilasha. So as long as you are not doing it with that and Jnana Karmadi Anavritam, and what you are doing is that anukulyena, you are doing something which is favorable to Krishna repeatedly. Anu means repeatedly, Shilanam, some seva, some activity that you are doing, is Bhaktiruttama. So you can even think of all the points we just unpacked, did a very quick crash course on the 11th verse. And you can see that it is possible to perform Uttama, to perform sadhana, or your basic process of bhakti, which you may be doing, Shravana, Kirtana, etc., which meets all of the criteria of the 11th verse. This will be very important for the future discussions in the slides. Okay, so that there are three types of bhakti: sadhana, bhava, prema, but we are in the sadhan bhakti chapter, so we will focus on the sadhan aspect today. Another very important verse, oh, I didn't have a build out here, that's okay, is a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 3rd chapter, 31st verse, and a very important sentence which will be repeated across many, many purports by almost every acharya repeats this: Bhaktya Sanjataya Bhaktya, which means that bhakti gives rise to bhakti. Okay, so what does this mean in this context? So I have color coded it with blue and red. The proper way to understand this is that sadhana bhakti gives rise to prema bhakti. So somebody had said that yes, and we had also said in those 6 characteristics of bhakti. Anybody has memorized that verse? 6 characteristics? Full verse, anybody has memorized? Okay. Okay, let's repeat that. Follow after me. Kleshagni shubhada moksha.
Kleshagni shubhada moksha.
Laghuta krita sudurlabha.
Laghuta krita sudurlabha.
Sandrananda visheshatma.
Sandrananda visheshatma.
Sri Krishna karshini chasa.
Krishna karshini chasa.
So these are the 6 characteristics, and we said 2 characteristics arise at the level of sadhana bhakti, bhava bhakti, and prema bhakti. So sadhana bhakti definitely goes, or in sequence, one goes from the stage of sadhana bhakti to bhava to prema. So the blue sadhana bhaktya sanjataya bhaktya means sadhana bhakti gives rise to prema bhakti. This is the BBT. I'm not saying Srila Prabhupada's translation, I'm saying BBT translation, because after 10th canto, 13th chapter, all the translations purports were given by his disciples. So BBT translation is the following. Let's see. Ainisa Mataji, could you please read this?
The devotees of the Lord constantly discuss the glories of the personality of Godhead among themselves. Thus they constantly remember the Lord and remind one another of his qualities and pastimes. In this way, by their devotion to the principles of Bhakti Yoga, the devotees please the personality of Godhead, who takes away from them everything inauspicious. Being purified of all impediments, the devotees awake to pure love of Godhead, and thus even within this world their spiritualized bodies exhibit symptoms of transcendental ecstasy, such as a standing of the bodily hairs on end.
Thank you. So here we can see in this translation, it is said in this way, by constantly discussing the glories, etc., by their devotion to the principles of Bhakti Yoga. So this is sadhana bhakti. The devotees please the personality of Godhead, who takes away everything unauspicious, and they become purified, and then the devotees awaken to pure love of God. So by executing the principles of bhakti, or by performing sadhana bhakti, one reaches the stage of prema bhakti. So that is the blue and red, okay, in this slide. So this is very important to understand that sadhana bhakti comes at a previous stage, prema bhakti comes at the later stage. Okay. So now we will quickly go through 2 more slides, and there's a very important point, which is like a little bit on a tangent, but it is still very important for understanding. So please pay attention. There are a couple of important points, little bit off the main track of discussion. So this is from the commentaries of 3 acharyas and the original author, Sri Rupa Gosvami. SRG, I have just abbreviated. Srila Rupa Gosvami versus Sri Jiva Gosvami versus Sri Vishvanatha Chakravarthy Thakur versus Srila Prabhupada. So Rupa Gosvami is the main author of Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhu. So he's saying, what is he saying? There are 3 categories of sa bhakti, means of Uttama Bhakti, sadhana, bhava, and prema. He's saying this. Now Jiva Goswami says that technically there are only 2 types, sadhana bhakti and sadhya bhakti. If you remember that picture I had shown a few weeks back, there was a potter who was making clay pots, isn't it? So the process of making pots and all the ingredients, the means and instruments and process that he was using is called sadhana. And what was coming out was sadhya, which means the nice, beautiful looking pots. So in the same way, there are only 2 stages. Is there a middle stage between the act of making the pots and the final pot? once the pot making is done, you have a ready pot, isn't it? Isn't it?
Concentration was important.
Okay, concentration of the mind is important, but I'm asking a very, it's not a trick question. Or the question is that once the process is done, you have the end product. There is no middle stage there. So why we have 3 stages, we can have only 2 stages, sadhana and sadhya. And then, yes, sadhya. So bhava bhakti is the result, or after sadhana bhakti, we get bhava bhakti. So bhava bhakti is a result of performing sadhana bhakti. And bhava bhakti is also sadhya bhakti. So why we need 3 categories, he argues. So he is kind of going, sort of arguing a point. It's a very important thing to realize that Jiva Goswami is a disciple of Rupa Goswami. And he very well knows the absolute expertise of Sri Rupa Goswami. In his younger age, he was even chastised by Rupa Goswami for acting too smart. I won't go into that pastime, that Lila. But one time Jiva Goswami was, trying to, somebody insulted Rupa Goswami and he went and defeated that guy to, protect the, so to say, the honor of Rupa Goswami. And Rupa Goswami didn't like it, saying, why you had to go defeat the guy and prove your superiority or our superiority. Let him win. And Rupa Goswami chastised Jiva Goswami. But still here, Jiva Goswami is going a little bit kind of, saying why we need 3 categories, why not just 2? And then he makes certain quotations from, so by the way, Srila Prabhupada also kind of hints at this, kind of takes a little bit this line of thought. And he says that, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, I've forgotten the reference. I read it just, a couple of days back, but I was reading and then I didn't make a note and now I can't find the reference. If anybody knows, please let me know. In the Bhagavatam, now it is there in Chaitanya Charitamrita, I will show you, but in Bhagavatam also, I remember reading that it was there, that Sadhya Bhakti has 5 stages, Bhava, Prema, Pranaya, Sneha, Raga. So it's not just Bhava and Prema. There are 5 stages, and in Rupa Goswami's work itself, Ujjwal Neelamani, he says there are 3 more advanced stages, Man, Anurag, and Mahabhava. So Srimati Radharani is at the stage of Mahabhava. So there are these 8 stages within Sadhya Bhakti. So why we have to limit it to, either we can limit it to 2, sadhana and sadhya, or have, what is the significance of having 3? So that is the question he poses. And this is, by the way, the reference in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, if for those that are interested. Anyway, so please, again, this is just some, I said it's a side tangent, so just bear with me. Then in his commentary, Sri Vishvanatha Chakravarthy Thakur explains, here is the significance of saying that, or putting Bhava Bhakti as an additional sort of a, its own category, other than leaving it all as Prema or Sadhya. So he makes 4 points, 2 for and 2 against. So let me put these 4 points in 2 different colors. So at the stage of Bhava Bhakti, he says that some minute offensive nature may still, or not may, it still exists at that stage within the sadhak. So Bhava Bhakti is being done by the sadhak and all the offenses have not yet cleared. And Sri Vishwanath Chakravarthy Thakur explains this in great detail in Madhurya Kadambini. Hopefully sometime in our life we can do a class or a series on that as well. So, one second, what's going on? Is my audio clear, by the way? Okay. And at the stage of Prema, there are no offenses. That is the final mature end result. So these are 2 points. He says that therefore Bhava is not completely part of the Sadhya. So he makes an argument that bhava is not part of the sadhya because some offenses are still remaining to be removed. Also, another point he makes is that when one is performing or when one is at the stage of bhava bhakti, he is not doing any more sadhana bhakti. Sadhana bhakti is over. Sadhana bhakti in this context is sort of endeavoring, or one has to remind consciously oneself to engage in the various means and processes. Even though one is in a sadhak deha. So one is still in a sadhak deha. You are in the material body of a sadhak, of a practitioner, and you are doing the practice or the training, that is sadhana bhakti, to get to the stage of bhava. So that is sadhana bhakti. But at bhava bhakti, there is no more sadhan. It becomes, the execution of the process of bhakti becomes second nature, completely second nature. A nice example is hunger. Even a small baby just born few hours, when he feels hungry, he has no training that when you feel hungry, you should cry and then mother will come and give you the milk. There is no training needed. He just knows that when he is hungry, how to get the milk. So, that is just part of his nature, part of second nature. Sadhana is more where you have to train yourself. Like, we have to train ourselves to do so many things. If when we grow up, many of us don't like to drink milk, myself included. But when the doctor says that, okay, by drinking milk, you are calcium deficient, and, best way to get calcium is to drink milk. So every day you have to remind yourself, oh, I'm low on calcium and I better drink a glass of milk. So, because of course the hunger can be satisfied through eating so many other things, gulab jamuns and samosas. So milk may not be necessary. So that is the process of sadhana. So that is the difference between bhava stage and sadhana stage. And therefore he says that this bhava bhakti is neither sadhana bhakti, because sadhana is over. One becomes executing the processes of bhakti is second nature. Neither it is fully sadhya. And therefore it needs its own category. Okay. So anyway, long discussion about why it needs its own category. But I definitely, and many of us are not at that stage. So why is this important? So one thing is that it's nice to understand what acharyas are saying and to understand the theory. Here is the main point that I wanted to bring out. That there could be a difference of opinion between our acharyas. And you imagine, we are not talking about, some people who are like, in the last 20, 30, 50, 100 years. We are talking about Sri Rupa Gosvami and Sri Jiva Gosvami, who is the backbone, who has written the 6 sandarbhas, who is the backbone of our Vaishnava philosophy, and Sri Vishvanatha Chakravarthy Thakur. And they are, all three are sort of, Rupa Goswami says 3, Jiva Goswami says, hey, there should be only 2. Vishwanath Chakravarthy Thakur says, no, there should be 3, and here are all the reasons why there should be 3. He gives a justification. And then Srila Prabhupada takes sort of a middle path and, says that, there are multiple classifications, and ultimately there are just 2. So if you read Nectar of Devotion, he will write that like that. So a very sort of, our brains in the modern world are very mathematical and very logical. We cannot live with sort of paradoxes or different people explaining it slightly in a different way, which don't reconcile properly. We are having a burning need for reconciliation. In spiritual topics, we need to relish what is being shared with us rather than trying to find out what is the absolute reconciliation between this and this. Both, in many cases, 2 opposite answers could be treated as correct. And it is our shraddha or our taste which should govern which answer we like and we accept. So this may be again, now this is not true for some of the most important doubts or important clarifications that we need. But for things that really don't affect our progress in our spiritual path, in our bhakti, there could be multiple explanations, and we are free to pick according to our liking a explanation provided by a bona fide acharya. And as you can see here, our great acharyas themselves are differing in some of these explanations, and that is perfectly okay. There should not be any problem in this regard. Okay.
Prabhuji, question.
Yes, go ahead, please.
What does offense mean in the context of the red bullets? And could you give an illustrative example for offense?
Okay, that's a big topic. And now there are many kinds of offense. The Sanskrit is aparadha. Okay, and there are various kinds of aparadha, such as Vaishnava aparadha, Nam aparadha, Dham aparadha, Seva aparadha. These are the 4 main categories of aparadhas. And one of the offense, or among a lot of these, all of them have serious levels, but I will take Vaishnava aparadha or Nam aparadha as some of the very serious offenses that we are prone to. Dham aparadha means I'm not visiting Dham like Vrindavan or Mathura or etc. often. And so, okay, but Vaishnava aparadha, for example, offending a Vaishnava. There are so many stories in the Srimad Bhagavatam about Vaishnava aparadha. Look at how Durvasa Muni tried to kill one of the greatest devotees of Lord Vishnu, Ambarish Maharaj. 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapters 4 and 5. You can read. And even in our day-to-day life, you can see how some of the people tried to hijack the plans of Srila Prabhupada just 50-60 years ago. How they tried to trouble him, how much, so to a pure devotee who has not done anything to them, they are just trying to cheat him, deceive him, give him trouble, so many things. And it happens even in, so Vaishnava aparadha is a very serious aparadha. Another example of aparadha is Nam aparadha is also a very serious aparadha. And one of the offense of Nam aparadha, now from Nama, we understand by taking the name of Hari or of Krishna, millions and trillions of our sinful or whatever, our karmic reactions are burnt away. We have read this in Shastra. One of the Nam aparadha could be, I will go commit sinful activity, then I will take the name of Bhagavan to nullify them. It's like your confession box on Sundays, kind of that analogy. Monday to Saturday you commit sinful activity, Sunday you come and confess your sins, and now you are free. So it's like trying to use Bhagavan's name as a get out of jail free card. So those are 2 examples of very serious aparadha, one to Vaishnava and one to Nam. I hope that gives you a sense.
Thank you.
Okay, Sarvashakti Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I have a follow-up question regarding the question Prabhuji asked. So, like for reaching bhava bhakti, is namabhas not necessary, Prabhuji? Even they do commit offenses, like they do have like offensive chanting even at the bhava stage.
So your question is that, so again, so at the bhava stage, there is still some nam aparadha. That is correct. Now, what is the question?
Oh, no, my question is, I thought, we have to come to the stage of offenseless chanting to progress in the ladder of bhakti. I didn't know that it was, even at the stage of bhava, they do have offensive chanting. So that is what my question was.
Yes, some minute offense would still exist.
Oh, okay.
Yes, the details are in Madhurya Kadambini. I'm, not fully conversant with all the details right at this moment.
Okay, okay, sure,
Yes.
Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. And thank you for joining all the way from India. Okay, so the main point that I appreciated here was what I'm showing in the blue color, that even our acharyas can have some difference of opinion, and that is perfectly valid. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So that is the discussion of, there are three types of Uttama Bhakti, sadhana, bhava, and prema. Now we go to the definition of sadhana bhakti. What is sadhana bhakti? So let us see the definition. This is a very important verse. It is replicated in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 22, chapter 22, verse 105. So here is the verse. Kriti sadhya bhavet sadhya bhava sa sadhana bhidha nitya siddhasya bhavasya prakatyam hridi sadhyata. So I have color-coded some of these words to show the various meanings of those sort of sections. So the first point is kriti sadhya. So this sadhana bhakti is kriti. Kriti means, you can see here the word, to do. Kriti means one which is done, especially done with the senses, with our, either knowledge acquiring senses or action performing senses, or the mind. There are 11 senses, 5 action performing senses, our hands and legs and so on. So we do various activities of bhakti, such as we can do archana of the Lord, worship of the Lord. We need our hands and legs and so on. And then our or tongue, etc. Or we can read Srimad Bhagavatam from our eyes. So that's knowledge acquiring, or hear from our ears, they are knowledge acquiring, or action, or just in the mind. One is chanting the name, manasik jap, just remaining completely quiet, not even doing a little murmur, as if an internal tape recorder is going on. Just close your mind, ears, eyes, everything. Just an inside tape recorder is going on in your mind. That is manasik jap. So that is an example of performing bhakti through the mind. And of course, when we read Srimad Bhagavatam, we make connections. We see, oh, this is said here, that is said there, how this connects. We are using our intelligence. So all the senses are being used for, so that bhakti in which senses are being used. Kriti sadhya. Bhavet sadhya bhava. And then which results by this action of performing the various processes of bhakti using the senses, it results in bhava bhakti. Sa sadhana abhidha, that is called as sadhana bhakti. So that bhakti which is executed with the senses and results in bhava bhakti. Okay? So those are the two defining characteristics. It is that bhakti which comes before the stage of bhava bhakti, because it results in bhava bhakti. So this is the cause. Sadhana bhakti is the cause and bhava bhakti is the effect. And nitya siddhasya bhavasya, and what it results in, that bhava bhakti, nitya siddha, that bhava of nitya siddha devotees, of the perfected souls, their bhava, their feelings, bhava, or their mood is manifested in one's heart. It arises, prakatyam hridi. Now this word prakatya, for those who understand one of the Indian languages, prakatya or prakat hona, to manifest, to arise, to appear. Those are some of the synonyms of prakat or prakatyam. Hridi, in the heart. Sadhyata is called the attainment of sadhya. So these are the main points, or this is the definition of sadhana bhakti. Now we will see what is important, some of the important points here. Okay. So sadhana bhakti, as I just said, is the cause and it leads to the effect of bhava bhakti. So that is the effect. Okay. So Sarvashakti Mataji, did you have a question? Oh, looks like.
No, Prabhuji, maybe I didn't flow with it.
Okay, sure. Okay. Wait. Okay. So, a doubt can arise. Okay. So, we just said, what is sadhana bhakti? Something which is executed by our senses, isn't it? That is the definition given by Sri Rupa Gosvami. So, sadhana is action by our senses, including the mind. So, what are our senses doing? They are performing material action. Do you all agree? Any doubt on this? No. And it results or leads to the manifestation of bhava bhakti in the sadhaka's heart. Correct? That's what also the definition says. These are the two main things that the definition is saying. I'm taking it exactly from the definition. Correct? Anybody sees a problem here?
How a material action can result into a spiritual result.
Very nice. So how does something material result in something spiritual? That is, that would make spirituality a, output or a product of material. So if I extrapolate that argument, one can say, I can buy bhakti. Money is material. Anything that you can do with your hands or senses, you can also buy with money, let us say. So can you buy bhakti? That just sounds so weird, isn't it? And also, if you stop paying for it, let us say you can buy it or whatever may be the material action. If you stop the material action, then the spiritual result could be lost. So it means that basically that spiritual result is a product. It can be produced by material action. Just like you can produce money by your material action. You work hard with your hands. Whatever, you go to a farm, you sow the seeds, you do nice farming, you get a lot of crop, you sell it, you are a rich man. So you can produce, literally produce bhakti. Okay. So what is the answer? How can bhava bhakti result from actions by the senses? Kriti sadhya. Bhavet bhava. Bhavet sadhya bhava. How is that possible?
Any material thing doubted with Krishna can become spiritual.
Okay. Okay. Yes, you are right. But I will say that how did you take the name of Krishna? Through your material tongue. And ultimately it is a material sound, vibration. You can analyze it with a whatever, like you can say, I have a Alexa here or something, but it is also a material device. When I say its name, it will start, saying, hello, what do you need? So it's just like that.
But Krishna's name is not material. There is no difference between his name and form.
Okay.
And himself.
Okay. Anything else? Somebody raised their hand and lowered it. I don't remember who.
Yeah, Prabhuji, can I say?
Yes, something. Go ahead.
Yeah. While we are calling Krishna with very devotion, maybe arti, in what I say in English, I don't know. Arti means only Krishna is there. Nobody is there like that. We have to think and we have to call Krishna devotion.
Yeah, but thinking and calling are both material actions. Even thinking is material. How are you thinking with your mind? Intelligence. Mind and intelligence are also matter. Subtle matter. We have seen that in Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Anjana Mataji?
So, Prabhuji, I was thinking that human life, to maintain one's body, we might have to do some material action whatsoever. And we have to maintain healthy body in order to advance spiritually.
Okay. How is that an answer to this question?
So, So material, I mean, it's like, it's a material result, right? When we are maintaining our body.
Yes. So material action can result in material result. Like I gave the example of farming. But how can material action result in spiritual effect?
So if I'm not healthy, I might not even try to be Krishna conscious, because I'm more concerned about my health and I'm paying more attention to my health rather than advancing spiritually.
So what you're saying is material faculties are necessary. Without material faculties, anyway, you cannot attain a spiritual result. I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
But the question is not that. The question is how come only material action, and all we said is material action. Sadhana Bhakti is all about material action. How is it that it is resulting in something spiritual? That is the question.
So, I mean, because we are in material world, so any action.
Yeah, any action we can possibly do is material. That is also.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's not very satisfying. You're saying all we can do is material, so somehow or the other it has to be like in the material domain. But I'm asking how. Anyway, Shyam Leela Mataji.
Action in the name of Krishna, whatever it is, it becomes
Raise
spiritual.
your hand, Mataji, if possible. Huh? Let's go in turn. Okay, Shyam Leela Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I remember reading a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam where Krishna says that for people who read Srimad Bhagavatam, he enters their heart and cleanses it. So could that be why we are doing a material thing, but Krishna is putting in, like, doing the heavy lifting, which is why we get a spiritual result out of it?
Okay, I will, no comments. Ramakant Prabhu.
Actually, Krishna loves his bhaktas. So once you name him, you repeat his name, do bhakti by material means, but you attract Krishna towards yourself.
Okay, no comments.
I think that is the spirituality.
Okay, got it, understand. Rajesh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, you can hear me?
Yes.
Prabhuji, is it not, what I was thinking is, ultimately it's the consciousness that matters. So with the consciousness, even, I mean, this is just based on my understanding, when only Krishna was existing and when Lord Brahma was also made in, it was through the consciousness it created the whole material world, right?
So you're dealing in consciousness here.
Right.
Which is a symptom of the soul. So it is somewhere in the spiritual sort of domain.
Right.
Okay, I got it. Madhav Gauranga Prabhu, you have your hand raised.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So I was thinking, like, you do some hard work and earn money, and then you donate that money for a charity or spiritual thing. Will it consider that way, or what in terms we are asking this question though?
No, that is the question. You just restated the question with a different example, like donating to Krishna consciousness. So that's a material activity. You did some material activity, how you earned the money, and now you're donating it by writing a check, let us say, or by swiping a credit card or whatever. So all of those are material actions. How does it result in a spiritual result? That's the question.
So in question I'm asking, like Bhagavad Gita, right? We sponsor Bhagavad Gita, put in a hotel room, and then the customer comes and read it. Do we get some spiritual benefit for that one?
Yes, but the question is how. All those are material actions. You go and put it in a hotel. So you carry the box with your hands. You open the room, you open the drawer, and you put the Bhagavad Gita. All those are material actions. How does it result in a spiritual benefit? That's the question. Okay, Sarita Mataji.
Is it by devotees' mercy, Prabhu?
Devotees' mercy. Okay, fine. We'll go to Ananya Mataji.
So Prabhuji, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So I was thinking Krishna has provided all the material equipments, I will say, or material things to attend him. So we have to use the material means to attend him. or to get his bhakti, I think. And if we'll use dedicated to him, then I think Krishna only bestows the.
Okay, all right.
Hare Krishna.
One second. Revati Mataji and then Chandrasekhar.
Yes, Prabhu. So my thought is like all our, if we perform all our activities with without any attachment, then it becomes spiritual.
Without any attachment, but it is still material. The activity is material. You're doing it with a material body. How is it not material?
Sorry.
Okay, Chandrasekhar Prabhu.
I believe, like, our material action in service for God leads to spiritual results. Like, if we do it with detachment, without any expectation, it purifies and leads to spiritual results. Even though it's a material action, it's a service with detachment.
It leads to a spiritual result of in the akarma understanding, but it does not lead to bhava bhakti. Okay, so we are the specific question. Okay, the way I have put it here, then a spiritual result. Let me modify that question to bhava bhakti, because that's really the point.
Got it.
Okay, by doing nishkama karma yoga, yes, you can make spiritual progress towards impersonal Brahman, but it will never lead to bhava bhakti. Okay, so that defeats that argument that how can it lead to bhava bhakti. Okay, Surya Prabhu.
Sadhana by senses will lead to bhava bhakti. Finally, it will turn into prema bhakti.
Yeah, but the question is how? Sadhana
by sadhana only.
Okay, but you're restating the question.
Mind and material action.
Okay, okay. Gautami Ganga Prabhu.
Oh, yes, Prabhu, Hare Krishna. So, I have read in Gita in multiple places in Srimad Bhagavatam that Krishna has said that you do not need to change your position in your life. Whatever you're doing, you should carry on. And every activity you should dovetail in Krishna consciousness. And then that becomes spiritual. And whatever you do in spiritual domain, like in spiritual, towards spiritual life, it is eternal. So material things end after this life, but spiritual things will continue eternally. Eternal benefit you'll get. So since Krishna has said that, I accept that as.
Okay, so you're saying Shabda Pramana. That is your answer.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Bhakti-ras Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I was thinking everything is material, but bhakti itself is spiritual. So then, because we are doing devotional service, everything gets spiritualized.
But the definition of sadhana bhakti itself is saying that it is executed by our material senses. So that's where I'm posing this. It's a trick question, but that's the question. Sai Prabhu. Okay, I think you might have posted. So let's see what you have written. Too many.
Prabhuji? Yeah.
1 second. We cook for Lord's pleasure. All our activities are dovetailed, keeping Krishna in the center. And then you're giving the example of Chitraketu Maharaj, which is a proof or an evidence from Srimad Bhagavatam. That's fine. I'm going in reverse order of your comments. Okay, I think I've gone through at least 70%. All right, let's see who's next. Inessa, and now please don't raise any more hands. We'll proceed with the discussion. So we'll complete those devotees who have raised their hands.
Prabhuji, Nishkama Bhakti is the correct answer, I think.
Okay, okay. We'll see what's the right answer. Thank you. Inessa
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna Prabhuji.
We'll come to you, Medha Mataji, just a second.
Okay.
Let's complete with Inessa Mataji.
Maybe it's like a strong desire to Krishna.
Okay. Medha Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, because is it because both material and spiritual are both Lord's energies? They are both Lord's energies.
Okay, that's a nice
basically.
thinking. Very nice
Yeah,
thing. Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
So, yes, that's what I thought. So ultimately, like it, uh, by doing like with this bhava bhakti, we lead to him because they are his energies. Basically, everything is his energy, and we are his parts of. We are the ansha. So
Got it. Okay. Anjana Mataji, did you have a final point to make, or was it a previously raised hand?
No, I was just kind of thinking that Prabhuji, I mean, if we do not exist, then how would we advance spiritually, or how would we reach to a bhakti level? So
That is why human birth is very rare. You need to exist.
Yeah,
No doubt about it.
exactly. So in some or the other way, we might land up interacting with the material world. And if we stop that, it means that when we stop, the moment we are dead, we stop interacting with the material world. And that's where we might stop, moving ahead in our spiritual life also. We have to wait to come back on earth, or, in a
Yeah,
human
but the question here is that if you stop material action, then what I could have written here is that then the already attained spiritual result could be lost. Yes, you will stop making progress till you get another body. But the question here is that how does something material result in something spiritual? And if that material thing is the cause and you take away the cause, the result should also get taken away just by logic. Okay, if it's a cause and effect relationship, then if you take away the cause, if you provide the cause, it provides the effect. You remove the cause, it removes the effect. That's the argument. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So some devotees answered correctly. And yeah, let's move forward.
Okay.
That sadhan bhakti, it does not result in bhava bhakti. So it's not a cause and effect. We do put it as a cause and effect as a stage. From stage 1, we go to stage 2. Without performing stage 1, it's very unlikely to get to stage 2. So it's not like a math equation where you plug in the values and the result is guaranteed. Here is the answer, that by our Uttama sadhana bhakti performed at a Uttama stage, which means with no material desires, not covered by jnana, karma, or anything like that. When we perform such bhakti, then Bhakti Devi, if you remember from the first discussion, bhakti is personified as Bhakti Devi, may get pleased, may or may not, and may awaken the love of Krishna within an instant. That is the meaning of prakatya hridayam. Within an instant, she may awaken the love of Krishna in our heart that has been dormant for a very, very long time. So, and please remember, it's not that Bhakti Devi is some kind of a, sadist person who is trying to, torture you or make you unnecessarily wait. Bhakti Devi is very, very kind, but she is a person. So it is not a mechanical process. There is the will of Bhakti Devi, and she is a servant, or she is energy of Krishna. So ultimately it is Sri Krishna, but his energy personified as Bhakti Devi that we are trying to please, or we are trying to attract her attention towards us, just like a child attracts the attention of a mother by crying, by yelling, by doing whatever. And he knows that mother is very kind. Sooner or later she may be busy, but she will come as soon as possible. So that is how bhakti, actually the sadhan bhakti, leads or causes, we can say, bhava bhakti, because bhava bhakti can only be given by Bhakti Devi. It is not a mechanical process, and it is not guaranteed, and it may be possible on the flip side that a person who has performed very low quality, not Uttama Bhakti. Even low quality, Anuttama, or not Anuttama. Anuttama means very, very Uttam, but very low quality Bhakti, even then she may give out of her own mercy, but she doesn't, she generally wouldn't do that. Okay. Just like, let us say you have two options going in a, if you have, I don't know, in a polluted street, there is a lot of pollution, or you have, a dirty place and you have a clean place to sit. You may choose to sit in a dirty place, but you will go and try to sit in a clean place because that's what you like. So this point needs to be, the reason I wanted to bring this out, it's a very important point, that bhakti cannot be forced, or it is not a mechanical process. Yet our understanding or our motivation should be to perform Uttama sadhana bhakti. Even though it is not a mechanical process, we have to perform Uttama sadhana bhakti. We must perform it because that is what attracts Bhakti Devi. The result may come, and this also explains, for some people it comes sooner, for some people it may take some time. That is perfectly fine. We cannot challenge Bhakti Devi. I did the same thing, you came sooner to that person, you came late to me. You cannot say that. Okay, so that understanding we should have, and with that it gives us more inspiration, more motivation to perform bhakti in the right mood. And that mood of calling out is very, very important, because you are trying to attract a person. It is not a mechanical process. You are actually literally trying to attract a person's attention. So however you attract a person's attention in the material world, the same kind of things you should try to do in the spiritual sense. Try to really attract the person's attention by doing things that that person likes, and with a lot of desire to invite the person to do everything possible so that that person wants to come into our heart. So some more notes on sadhana bhakti. Again, I will go through this a little bit more quickly because it is kind of a similar theme, that sadhana bhakti is the process of removing offenses. Part of sadhana bhakti is to remove offenses, so that Bhakti Devi can come and sit in our heart. That's what he said, a clean place versus a dirty place. And in the meantime, we should continue till she comes. We should continue to keep cleaning the place. Keep it as clean as possible. We don't know which day she will arrive, but the day she arrives, we better make sure it's very clean. Just like Shabri, the story goes in the Ramayana, that every day she would collect the fruits and keep it ready for Lord Ram, because her guru had told one day Lord will come. And for, it seems, 60 years, the Lord did not come, but she did not get disheartened. Every day she would keep fresh fruits ready. And one day the Lord came. That whole 60 years of effort was completely fructified on that one day. So that should be that's the mood of a bhakta. That's how the bhakta should operate. So, and patiently wait and keep cleaning in the meantime. Now, another way to say the same thing, like we discussed on the last slide, is that removing of offenses is not a requirement for Bhakti Devi to arrive. Okay, Bhakti Devi could arrive even in an offensive heart. Because if we say that removing offenses is a requirement, then offenses become bigger than bhakti. If I want to stop bhakti from coming, saying, Bhakti Devi, you shall not come in my house. And the way to do it is I will keep an offensive heart. And then Bhakti Devi cannot come because it is a requirement. That means offenses are more powerful than bhakti. That's the logical conclusion. This is just by logic, that I will keep you out by keeping offenses in, and my door of offenses is strong enough to prevent you from coming in. So the door is stronger than the person trying to enter. So that is also not true. Bhakti Devi is more powerful than any offenses or anything. The only point is she does not like an offensive heart. So if you have offenses, it's highly unlikely, it's not impossible, it's unlikely that she will choose to arrive and sit in your heart. Just like Lord Krishna, when he went to Hastinapur, where did he go to have dinner? Could he have gone to Duryodhan's house? No. Could he have gone? Was it within his was it within his domain of choice to go there?
He could have.
Could have. Definitely he could have, but he didn't want to. He didn't like to, because there was no love. It wasn't a clean heart. So the best way is to invite Bhakti Devi is to do what we can, which is by keeping our heart clean by two processes. Artha vritti, which means to continue our activities of sadhana bhakti, Uttama sadhana bhakti, Navadha bhakti, with no intention of DAKM. What does this mean, DAKM?
Dharmarth, Kam, Moksha.
Very nice. The 4 Purusharthas, which is the same thing as saying Anya Bhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadi Anavritam. So with no intention of any of those things, and Anartha Nivritti. So both Artha Vritti or Artha Pravritti, as we say, and Anartha Nivritti, both things we should continue in the meantime, but they are not mechanical causes like a mathematical equation. I am doing the input, the output is guaranteed. No, it's not guaranteed. So we keep calling out to her to arrive as soon as possible. And she will arrive much sooner than we expect. Much sooner than the mother arrives for a crying baby. She will arrive. Okay, but please understand that she doesn't have to. Okay. Another point. So these are just some notes on sadhan bhakti. I'm going fairly detailed, but it is important to understand what is sadhan bhakti, because this is something we are doing, or at least many of us are attempting to do on a daily basis. So it is very important to understand what is sadhan bhakti and how it works, because attaining the stage of bhava is sudurlabha. If you remember, that comes in the next two. First two is kleshagni and shubhada. The next two are moksha laghutakrit and sudurlabha. So attaining the stage of bhava is not easy because of this reason. So in that Sudurlabha discussion, we clearly discussed that we should continue our sadhana bhakti with this mood of calling out and inviting Bhakti Devi, with that desire to develop the attachment to Krishna, the rati or the asakti. Some more notes, again from the commentaries of the previous acharyas, are that so we said bhava bhakti is not material. We said that. Okay. And sadhan bhakti is performed with material senses or using material senses. Correct? We just said that. Then our acharya says even the sadhan bhakti is not material. The process is not material. The means, the instruments used may be material, like our tongue, our eyes, our ears, so many things, our hands. But the process itself is not material. Any verse that you remember which justifies or substantiates this claim? So we sing it at every beginning of every class. Ataha Sri Krishna namadi na bhaved grahyam indriyai So Sevon Mukhe Hijivhadau Swayam Eva Spuratyadaha. So what is the meaning of the first line? Ataha, therefore, Sri Krishna Namadi. Nam, name, or Nam Adi means etc. Name, form, pastimes, qualities, etc. Na bhaved grahyam indriyaihi. Do not manifest on our material senses. So how is it possible that we are taking Krishna's name daily? I'm sure all of you are taking, sometimes even 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 1 hour. You're taking Krishna's name every day. How is it possible? On your tongue. Anybody knows? How do you answer this? These are all sort of, questions to what should I say, deepen your understanding of bhakti. So I don't know whose hands were raised earlier or now, but we'll go to Anjana Mataji, then Medha Mataji, then Rajesh Prabhu.
I really did not raise my hand. It was from previously.
Okay.
So.
Okay, I'll lower it.
Okay.
Medha Mataji, you want to say something?
Same here, Prabhuji. I think it was from previous.
Rajesh Prabhu?
Sorry.
I had a question before, Prabhu, so probably we can take it later.
Okay, yeah, I'll take it later, so you can keep your hand raised. Yeah, so the question is, how are we chanting Krishna's name with our material tongue, even though the verse says that Atah Sri Krishna Nama Adi Na Bhaved Grahyam Indriyahi. So actually, one of you had answered it before in the previous discussion, sort of, that ultimately we cannot take Krishna's name. We can take any other name, whatever, Joe, Tom, Rahul, whatever may be the names. But when we have even the slight desire to utter or remember Krishna's name, then Bhakti Devi allows us or enables us to utter it. Otherwise, Krishna's name also cannot be uttered. So, and this is not some kind of fanatical dogma or anything. It's a core principle of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Our acharyas are writing this. Even one word of this entire presentation is not from me. It is all from previous acharyas. So this is a core principle of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, that Krishna's name is completely spiritual and it has absolutely nothing to do with anything material. So when we desire to take Krishna's name, in that instant, we get the energy or the enablement or empowerment to take the name. So that completes the discussion on the first two verses, which was sort of an important discussion. The first was that Uttama Bhakti is divided into three parts: sadhana, bhava, and prema. And then we went into the definition of Uttama Bhakti. Two main points to remember from the definition of Uttama Bhakti, sadhana Bhakti, is that it is performed with our material senses and it leads to bhava Bhakti. Okay, and another point is that as a result of it, so that is what is sadhana Bhakti. As a result of it, bhava Bhakti instantaneously at some point will arise or manifest or appear, prakatyam, remember that word. It just arises in our heart. So the stronger we call out with that intention that please let bhava Bhakti arise in my heart, pray at the feet of Lord Sri Krishna.
Nishkama Bhakti also in my.
So Nishkama Bhakti just means that no material desires. That is not enough. If you do that, it will not result in bhava Bhakti, because all you are doing is Nishkama. You are just doing the Anyabhilashita Shunyam. That is all that Nishkama is saying. It could still be covered with Jnana and Karma, even though without the result, Kama means the result of our activities, Jnana and Karma. Okay, and there may be zero input of Krishna Anushilanam, of anukulyena. So please don't remain fixed on just the Nishkama Bhakti aspect. Okay, there is nothing called Nishkama Bhakti. Bhakti means one has to have all those components of the 11th verse. That is Uttama Bhakti. Okay, so that's what we covered. Now, let's see, it's 7:28, 5 more minutes. The next two verses, 3rd and 4th, are providing an evidence from Srimad Bhagavatam, and it is a very, very sweet aspect of this principle of sadhana bhakti. So the 4th verse, so the 3rd verse basically says that here is an evidence from Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 1st chapter. And the 4th verse is a line from the 32nd verse, which is a very, very important and sweet line, which says Tasmat. Now, all those who have done Bhagavad Gita class with me know that anywhere you see the word Tasmat, it should raise a whole bunch of flags in your mind. You should do a search, global search in all of the Shastras for Tasmat and make a note of all those verses. Anywhere where Tasmat appears, okay? And 80% of those verses will be very important to memorize or to internalize. Okay, so Tasmat kenapi upayena manah krishne niveshayet. So it's kind of straightforward, right? Anybody can tell me the meaning, what it means? Lot of echo.
By any means, you will have to repeat the name of Krishna. That is the investment. Nivesh.
Repeat the name of Krishna. Okay, fine. Yeah, almost very close. Again, so let me just say, thank you. Therefore, somehow or the other, kena api upayena, jaise taise, jaise ya vaise, this or that. That's the meaning of kena upayena. Upay means method or means. By any means, manah Krishna niveshayet, that one must invest. Nivesh means invest. Your man, your mind in Krishna. And some of the verses in the Bhagavatam also say even anemically. That is very surprising. Even anemically. Okay. So let me explain the context of Srimad Bhagavatam. And it says even anemically. Please remember, it has a word called sa-vairena or sa-vaira. Vair means bear. Bear means like enemy. Okay. So example is given of, anybody knows what example this is? From the
Shishupal?
Yes, very nice.
Shishupal.
Shishupal. Yes.
Kansa.
No, not Kamsa. Lord Krishna didn't kill Kamsa with a, sitting on a throne. He was on a arena, kya bolte hain use, akhada. So here Bhagavan Sri Krishna is sitting on a throne. So this story is, I'll just narrate the story in a couple of minutes, that this question, kindly mute yourself if there's some disturbance. So this is how the 7th canto begins. And what is the main story of 7th canto? Anybody knows?
Prahlad Maharaj.
Yes, Hiranyakashyap and Prahlad Maharaj.
Yeah.
So at the end of this 1st chapter of 7th canto, finally Parikshit Maharaj asks Shukadeva Goswami, now please tell the story of the great devotee Prahlad. Before that, a whole discussion happens in the 1st chapter. And the main aspect of the discussion of Shukadeva Goswami is that how is it that Bhagavan is so sort of partial towards his devotees? Why does he favor his devotees? Why does he, why is he not equal to everyone as the Vedas and Upanishads, and they all say that Bhagavan is equal. And finally, the discussion progresses, and within that conversation, there is a conversation of Yudhishthir Maharaj with Narad Muni. So this is a conversation between Yudhishthir Maharaj and Narad Muni. And there, Shukadev Goswami says that, your grandfather, one of your grandfathers, Yudhishthir Maharaj, who is a grandfather because, Parikshit Maharaj is the grandson of Arjun. And so he's like a grandfather, Yudhishthir Maharaj. He also asked same question to Narad Muni, and here is the answer. So during the Rajasuya Yajna, after, whatever discussion and all, Bhishma Dev proposes Lord Krishna to be the chief guest of honor, who will be worshipped sitting on the throne and so on. And Shishupal is the only person who is opposing Lord Sri Krishna. So the story of Shishupal is that Shishupal was a very, very envious person towards Lord Krishna, very abusive. And due to his past samskara, past conditioning and so on. So actually, Shishupal is a cousin of Lord Krishna. And Lord Krishna, Mother Devaki and Shishupal's mother were sisters. So he was a cousin, and from his birth, he was abusing Lord Sri Krishna. Now, when he was born with 4 hands. And there was a prophecy that, he will be killed by a person if he goes into the lap of someone and his 2 hands just fall off. That person will be the cause of his death. Just like in the case of Kamsa, there was a prophecy that, 8th son of Devaki will be the cause of your death. So his mother became very anxious to find out who will be the cause of my son's death. And she would put Shishupal into the lap of everyone. So one time Lord Krishna came to their house, and she put her son Shishupal into Krishna's hands, and his 2 arms fell off. So then she came to know that Krishna will be the cause of death of my son. So she approached Lord Krishna and said that, please forgive him, or please don't kill him. How can he, so Lord Krishna says, okay, I cannot, I won't change the prophecy, but 100 times if he is abusive in front of me, not behind me, he can do any number of times, but in front of me 100 times if he abuses me, I will tolerate, and then I will have to kill him. But so she tried to tell Shishupal to not do that, but because of his conditioning, he was so against and so alienated, so demoniac, that he could not stop abusing Lord Krishna. So in this Rajasuya Yajna, he was like, oh, why are you selecting this? He thought Krishna is just an ordinary person. And even though the prophecy was there, he said, I have more power than the prophecy, and it will not have any effect on me. Like so many people think, even the cigarette says, it's injurious to health, so I'll smoke. Nothing will happen to me. So like that, there is that arrogance, that ahankar. So he said, I'm a Kshatriya, I can deal with him. And he said, why should this person be the guest of honor? There are so many other qualified people. And on hearing that, Bhima became very angry. But Lord Krishna said, don't worry, just stay quiet. So he calmed down the Pandavas and all. And he kept abusing. And finally, Krishna even warned him, I'm counting. At 100, I have to kill you. He kept abusing. And on the 100th time, then Lord Krishna with his Sudarshan Chakra, he cut off his head. So that is what is being shown here, that Lord Krishna, sends his Sudarshan Chakra and cuts his head off. Then there is another thing you can see, his soul. Now, this is the most important thing. His soul goes and merges into the feet of Lord Krishna. Okay. So Yudhishthir Maharaj could see that. And everybody else present there could see that his soul merged into Lord Sri Krishna. And it is, everybody understands the Vedas and everybody understands that, that's like he has been liberated. No more birth and death for him. And Yudhishthir Maharaj says that, how is it possible? He was so abusive. And just in the 6th canto, just before this is happening in 7th canto, there was a story of King Vena. He asks, Vena was also very abusive towards the Lord, towards Lord Narayan, but the sages killed him. The Lord didn't kill him, the sages killed him, and he went to hell. His soul went to hell. Of course, he was rescued by a devotee son. So it's very nice to have devotee children by Prithu Maharaj. But that is a different story. So he says, in his case, he went to hell. Why didn't Shishupal go to hell? Why did he get the highest result, which is to merge into the body of Lord Sri Krishna? And that is when Narad Muni says that he had, even though animically, but his mind was completely absorbed in Krishna. And that is why he was able to merge into the body of Krishna. So we have to understand a key point from the Shastra. An extreme rhetorical statement. So one can say that, okay, from tomorrow I'll be inimical to Krishna. But that is not the teaching. It is making a extreme boundary case rhetorical statement, which is meant for showing the worst case, not what we are advised to consciously adopt, that I will do the worst case. It is just showing that even if such a person can get a benefit, what to speak of somebody who does something better. That is the meaning, or that is how we should understand Shastra. Okay, so Shastras will make these kind of statements. Like Ajamil, one time he took the name of Narayana, and then the Vishnu Dutas came. So our understanding should not be that, oh, I will replicate Ajamil. I will commit sinful activities throughout my life, and finally I will take the name of the Lord. We should try to do much better than that. So that is how we should understand the Shastra. Okay, but this example is given as an example that even with complete, so this is just basically saying, kenapi upayena, somehow or the other. If you cannot think favorably, at least think unfavorably. Okay, that is I hope you can get the point being made here. Okay, but not to be misunderstood. So that is the next 2 verses. And from next time onwards, so we will stop here. Oh, there's this another picture I pasted. I found it on Google. You can see here his head is cut off, but his soul enters the body of Lord Sri Krishna. So we will stop here. And next time we will now start with the first. So sadhan bhakti is divided into 2 categories. Vaidhi sadhan bhakti and Raganuga sadhan bhakti. So Vaidhi sadhan bhakti we are going to start next time. And that will be a long discussion spanning almost 12 or 13 chapters of Nectar of Devotion. So we will spend bulk of our time on Vaidhi sadhan bhakti. But I hope you have understood what is the meaning of sadhan bhakti. Okay, do we have any? Yeah, next week's class time may be a little different. It may happen a little earlier than usual, but I'll send a notification on the group. Any comments or questions? But thank you. Today was nice participation and discussion by all the devotees. Do we have any final comments or questions? Okay. If not, then yes, Sai Prabhu raising the hand. Who is Bhakti Devi specifically? I have heard the name several times, but cannot identify a form, personality with the person. Yeah, so Bhakti Devi is Bhakti personified. She is basically the Shakti of Lord Sri Krishna. So, I mean, it's not being said that Bhakti Devi is Srimati Radharani or one of the gopis or Mother Yashoda, but she is just Bhakti personified. Okay. I hope that addresses the question. Okay.
Prabhuji, I have a question.
Yes,
Last week's video is not been posted because I missed it.
Yeah. I will be posting it. I was
Okay.
little busy this last
Okay,
one
no
or two.
problem. I just wanted to, because I missed it last
I'm
week.
aware of that. I know I'm lagging behind. Sorry.
Oh, no problem. Oh, no problem. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you very much. Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Tomorrow, Kartik month is
Hare
starting.
Krishna.
Tomorrow, yes, at least in the USA, according to whatever calendar, Kartik month is starting tomorrow. It's a great opportunity to perform Uttam Sadhana Bhakti. So please, make this 1 month at least. It's a special month. Do not let this month go without performing Uttam Sadhana Bhakti. Literally Uttam. And remember all the components of Uttam. Anya Abhilashita Shunyam. Jnana Karmadi Anavritam. Anukulyena. Krishna Anu Shilanam. Repeated, Shilanam means seva. And favorable seva, not like Shishupal or Kamsa. Favorable, okay? So, and however, within these constraints, as much as possible, yena kena prakarena. So, somehow or the other, okay? So, please remember all these points and use this month of Kartik in a very meaningful way. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna. Thank
Prabhuji.
you very much, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. I'm leaving day after tomorrow, Prabhuji.
Oh, okay. All the best. Safe
Thank you.
travels and wish you have a nice stay in India.
Thank you, Prabhuji.